Welcome to our second edition of the Penn State Athletics Update, brought to you by Penn State Sports Night. I'm Joey David, and I'm joined by Brendan Conroy. Our beat reporters have continued to attend Penn State sporting events across multiple different sports, and we'll be updating you on what's been happening recently from these teams.
Penn State women's basketball has struggled as of recent, as the Lady Lions have lost their last 6 games in a row. Things have been tough, but if they are able to turn it around, hopes should be higher for the upcoming Big Ten tournament. Luckily, our Amanda Vogt was able to go to the Bryce Jordan Center this past weekend and catch the action. Amanda, what'd you see?
Thanks, Brendan. Well, the Lady Lions concluded their regular season this past weekend with an 80-65 loss to Michigan State. 3 seniors were celebrated prior to the game's start, so let's take a look about their lasting impact.
Anna Camden, Alexa Williamson, and Janasia Cash were all honored in a pregame ceremony. The 3 leave behind legacies of leadership that have shaped the way for the younger Lady Lions that will step up in the years to come. Early in the season, Cash scored her 1,000th career point, becoming the 3rd Lady Lion to do so. Williamson joined the Blue and White in 2022 after playing 4 years at Temple. Coach Keeger credited the impact she's had at the post this season and wishes she could have spent more time with the Blue and White. The only senior that's been a Lady Lion for all 4 years is Kendall.
She has been our captain, she has been our culture driver, and even though she didn't, and I didn't have as many wins in her career as we would have hoped, every win moving forward is going to be because of the foundation that she helped me lay. And she's Miss Penn State. Everything about her is blue and white, and her legacy is going to live on for a really long time.
And for freshman Shea Chesky, Camden has been her biggest supporter by taking on a big sister role, which helped ease the transition into becoming a regular starter for the Lady Lions.
Well, that's what Anna does. You know, she takes people under her wing and she takes care of them, and one of the most selfless servant leaders I've been around. So for Anna, it's all about the people under her, which is what makes her a great leader. So when Shea came in, she knew she was going to be a big part to our puzzle.
In the loss to Michigan State, Chesky put up 27 points, which is the most a freshman has scored under Coach Keeger. While Camden is not a frequent starter, she's always been everyone's biggest cheerleader.
And Anna being so vocal on the bench, how has that encouraged your play?
Man, it encourages everyone's play. She's a leader on this team, and we all look for her, to juice us up, and, she's done a great job with that.
Anna Camden has defined what it means to be a leader for the Lady Lions. Along with Cash and Williamson, she's helped lay the foundation for the next leaders of the Blue and White.
Ultimately, strong leadership is crucial in periods of struggle. Players like Camden have the potential to keep the team buying into the team's core values during those rough patches. When looking at the Blue and White 6-game losing streak, the team struggled when getting down early. The Lady Lions would have scoring runs, but they happened too late in games, and they struggled to overcome those large deficits. Defensively, the team averages 11.1 steals per game, but against the Spartans, it only had 4. Leilani Kapanis is typically that defensive spark and leads the Big Ten in steals, averaging 3.1 per game. Obviously, the Lady Lions have the potential to put up high numbers, especially with McKenna Marisa and freshman Shea Chesky on the court, but that defensive pressure must be kept high in order to limit the opponent's attack. Penn State was given the 13th seed in the Big Ten tournament, and on Wednesday, it'll face the 12th-seeded Minnesota Golden Gophers. Previously, the Lady Lions lost in double overtime and again in January at home by 8 points. The tournament games will be held at the Target Center in Minneapolis, so it will be a neutral arena. It definitely won't be an easy battle, but one to keep an eye on considering the winner will play Michigan the following day. Now back to you, Joey.
Thanks, Amanda. A 6-game skid is definitely not the way anyone wants to finish off the regular season. So the Lady Lions are going into the tournament off of a big skid, and it's definitely not a way you want to end the season, especially not having many winning streaks against Big Ten teams and ACC opponents. And the locker room definitely isn't feeling great coming into that. But it's definitely an uphill battle, and it's something that it's not impossible, but it's going to take a lot to have to change the tides.
Absolutely, and I like how you put a lot of emphasis on the end of the season, because it's easy to kind of turn it around in the middle of the season or the beginning if you get moments like this. But to your point, with a 6-game losing streak at the end of the season heading into Big Ten tournament play, it can make it a little bit tougher for the energy in the locker room and just the team as a whole. Now we will take a look over to Penn State women's hockey with reporters Josh Bartosik and Cailey Thalman, who are here to talk about Penn State women's hockey tournament run.
Thanks, Brendan. Penn State women's hockey took on Lindenwood in the first ever best-of-3 CHA tournament semifinals. It took the Nittany Lions 2 games to defeat Lindenwood and advance to their first ever CHA championship, where they will face Mercyhurst. Let's take a look at their dominant performance this weekend. I'm Cailey Thalman here at Pagula Ice Arena with Penn State Sports Night, where the Penn State women's hockey team is taking on Lindenwood in the first ever best-of-3 CHA semifinals. On Friday, the Nittany Lions beat Lindenwood 4-1, scoring 3 goals in that second period. They're looking to continue their unbeaten streak against Lindenwood to advance to their first ever CHA championship. Penn State got off to a quick start on Saturday after a scoreless first period the day before. Behind their strong defense, the Nittany Lions put up 3 goals in the first.
Putting 28 shots up, like we dominated that first period, and that was essentially the game. I mean, like Lindenwood's a proud program, they play hard, but like that first period was a big statement.
Josie Bothan was also on fire all weekend, giving up just 2 goals across both games. Along with solid goaltending, the Blue and White sent flurries of shots towards Lindenwood goaltender Julia McGuire. Penn State added 2 more goals, giving them a 5-0 lead to end the second period, including a 47-9 shot differential. Freshman forward Tessa Janicki had 1 goal on the board heading into the third before tallying 2 more early in the period to complete the hat trick and put the Nittany Lions up 7-0. Another important piece of the Nittany Lions game was the power play. Penn State has been hugely successful on the power play all season, and this game was no different as they put up 2 goals on the man advantage. Lindenwood mustered a goal late in the third period to cut the lead to 7-1, but Penn State's strong start allowed them to soundly secure the victory. The Nittany Lions will face Mercyhurst in their first ever CHA championship at Pagula Ice Arena on March 4th. For Penn State Sports Night, I'm Cailey Thalman. Josh, the Nittany Lions were really successful this weekend, scoring 11 goals across their 2 games and winning 4-1 and 7-1. They only gave up 2 goals across those 2 games. What did you take away from the weekend?
Well, they seemingly are able to score at will recently. I mean, they've just been piling on the goals in conference play. They've been very, very dominant. The power play was really great. The penalty kill was awesome. And goaltending was great as well. I mean, this is now a goaltender in Josie Bothan who has only given up 1 or fewer goals in 6 straight matchups. When your goalie's playing as well as she is, it's going to be very easy to win your games.
You mentioned Josie Bothan. She's been killing it in net for the Nittany Lions. And another thing that's been great is the team has received a lot of power plays. They've been scoring hugely on the power play. Looking ahead, Mercyhurst is the only team in the CHA that the Nittany Lions lost to this season. What happened in that game, and how do they need to improve heading into the CHA championship?
Well, it was something that has really struck this team down in recent years, and that was getting complacent, right? This is a team that, for some reason, under Jeff Kampersal, has always assumed that they're just going to be gifted these wins, and it didn't happen right then. They had started off really great in CHA play, and they just kind of lacked the defensive zone structure in that game, and that series really was just absolutely horrendous. Way too many odd woman rushes the other way, led to a bunch of goals. That's how Mercer was able to win that game. So for Penn State to win in the CHA championship, obviously can't let the nerves get to you. It's your first ever CHA title game, but you know you deserve to be here. Play like you deserve to be here, and just tighten up that defensive zone coverage, because like you have been recently, that's why Josie Bothan's only giving up 1 or fewer goals in these last couple of games, because they've been so strong defensively. So focus on the defensive side of the puck, and those goals will come.
You mentioned it, and heading into the CHA championship, if they manage to pull out the win, the Nittany Lions can secure a spot in the NCAA tournament. That will come with a lot of non-conference opponents, which are the ones that the Nittany Lions have not been as successful against this season. What do they have to do to be successful in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think realistically, the non-conference play at the start of the season actually really helped this team out. I mean, they played some really tough opponents. Opened the season against Wisconsin, had Minnesota Duluth as well, Yale, Colgate in there. And they opened up the season with a win against Wisconsin, really boosted the morale of the team. Obviously, they got embarrassed the next game, but even though the record didn't show it, the team, as Jeff Kampersal has talked about this too, along with Tessa Janicki, how they feel like they really grew from the beginning of that season, playing those tougher teams, knowing that they'll probably see them in the NCAA tournament if they win this coming Saturday. So I think knowing that they're already going to be a little bit familiar with some of these teams will really help them. And even though they lost early in the season, this is a much more mature team. They're much more focused, and they're much more energized to show that they belong in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely.
All right, Brendan and Joey, back to you guys.
Thanks, Josh and Cailey. I know you guys have been waiting a while for this. For women's hockey's next matchup being Mercyhurst in the College Hockey America Championship on March 4th. Brendan, what do you expect out of this game?
I mean, what I expect is to see the same great goaltending that we've seen from goaltender Josie Bothan in these past few games. I think going into the championship, the biggest thing we need to keep in mind is that defense is what wins championships. Seeing that the Penn State women's hockey team has done well with that in the season so far, I think they carry that over to the championship game. That's how they continue their success and hopefully get the win.
Now, skating over to the men's side of the ice, Penn State men's hockey will be taking the road to Columbus, Ohio, where the Nittany Lions will be taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes in a 3v6 seed matchup for the Big Ten tournament with our beat reporters Anthony Desher and Kendall Skalicky.
Thanks, guys. Penn State men's hockey split the series this past weekend at Pagula against Wisconsin. The Nittany Lions dominated on Friday, winning 6-1, but the tables turned on Saturday with the Badgers pulling off a 2-1 victory. This was a tough one for Penn State because losing this game also meant losing the home ice advantage for the first round of the Big Ten tournament. So, Anthony, these were two drastically different games. What do you think was the biggest difference in this Penn State team from Friday to Saturday night?
Well, game one was great, 6-1. You couldn't ask for a better game, but game two was not ideal, obviously. Backup goaltender for the Badgers, Kyle McLennan, faced 47 shots, only let in one goal. Man was standing on his head. Robbed a goal late in the game. It was so close to being tied and possibly getting an extra point. That would have helped them get that home ice advantage, but just the power play, it wasn't good. They had over 10 minutes of power play time, couldn't click on anything, and they just weren't as quick as they were in game one as they were in game two. Their power play is at the bottom of the Big Ten. It's at clicking at, 15%? With that much power play time that they got, you just have to click on something, especially that late in the series with this much on the line. They just had to get it going, and when you run into a brick wall, sometimes you just got to knock it down with a wrecking ball, and it just didn't happen. So, I mean, they're stuck with Ohio State for the Big Ten tournament, and they'll have a tall hill to climb, but they've seen them last year, and we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, this team has not been able to capitalize on power plays, and I think that if they did improve on this, they would have taken that Saturday game, but they will be at Ohio State next weekend. So what do you think the team needs to improve on and change drastically from this last game against Wisconsin to be able to compete, let alone win this series?
Well, like I said, the power play. I mean, yes, Ohio State has the best penalty kill in the entire NCAA. It's almost 90%, but if Penn State, like I said, can just get bodies in front of Jakub Dobeš and take his eyes away, he's going to let up rebounds. And someone needs to be there to pick up that rebound and pot a goal, because now it's the Big Ten tournament. Everything matters. It's yes, it's a 3-game series, but it's win or go home. And you saw it last year how they showed up to play and they upset Ohio State. But now Ohio State looks a little bit better. And they have guys like Mason Lohrei and Tate Singleton, their captain Jake Wise, who have all been getting on the score sheet recently. If you could shut those guys down, like I said, get bodies in front of Dobeš, take away his eyes, generate those chances, you're good. You're in for a good series.
For sure, and I know the guys are looking at this tournament as a fresh start, and we've seen a lot of different names all over the score sheet, so who are you going to be looking for during the playoffs?
Well, Tor Linden's got 6 points his last 4 games, and when he's going, you know that offense is going with him. Danny Geniev, another guy who looks very confident. He's been picking up the points a lot these last couple games. Liam Soulier, he's the backbone. It's very important that he carries that momentum he had against Wisconsin. He had a couple good games, but yeah, they lost the second one, but he looks really good. And my last guy, Kevin Wall, he had 2 big goals against OSU, their last matchup. One was the game winner. If he can show up, I mean, he's a senior. He's going to go out in style. And this series is important to him, and it's important to this team. And if those guys can show up, Penn State could possibly walk away with another upset for that second straight year.
Yeah, a lot of players to look out for this weekend. And as you said, I think if Tor Linden and Danny Geniev can stay on this high, it's going to be a good weekend for this team. That's all for us. Will the Nittany Lions be able to upset Ohio State for the second year in a row at playoffs? We'll have to wait and see. Brendan and Joey, back to you.
Men's hockey have had themselves quite the season. Joey, what have you seen that you want to comment on?
So I'm really excited to see how this team fares in the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, it went on a really rough stretch towards the end of the season, but there's still a chance for Penn State. They're going to go over to Columbus, and they're going to do their best to try and beat a very good Ohio State team. But it's, again, just like the sports earlier, it's a big uphill battle for these teams playing as a lower seed. and it's going to be a big game that I'm very excited to watch. Next, we'll have Nolan Collery talk lacrosse, as the Penn State women's lacrosse team are off to a 4-0 start this season.
Thanks, Joey. Despite the cold temperatures the women's lacrosse team has faced, they have come out to a blazing hot 4-0 start. Their path to victories look drastically different in their matches, from the 19-4 steamrolling of Duquesne to the goalkeeping masterclass in their 8-4 victory over Arizona State. Through the whole season, one thing has remained consistent: their consistency.
The women's lacrosse team has come out all season with the same message: play their game, not their opponents. The offense is focused on time of possession, hitting passes on cuts, and smart shot placement. The shooters were thoroughly tested against Arizona State goaltender Katie Valley, who had an impressive 66 save percentage against the Nittany Lions. Penn State head coach Missy Doherty said the team started by shooting low, but the Sun Devils goalie kept coming down fast. So she had her shooters start bringing their shots up to keep Valley guessing as much as possible. Doherty went on to compliment the strong goaltending her team faced, but at the end of the day, she was pleased to have a game where the team's shots weren't always falling, but the Nittany Lions still found a way to win. Penn State has won the possession battle in all 4 of their contests, so their defense has not been tested too harshly. However, this will hardly be the case looking forward. With a difficult schedule ahead, the Nittany Lions will need to expect to be challenged with more shots. The defense will need to continue their fast style of play, and a lot of responsibility will be placed on sophomore goaltender Ashley Bowen, who has made some incredible saves this season, including a double stuff right on the crease against the Sun Devils. If Penn State can keep this play style and continue to improve throughout the year, a long and successful season of lacrosse lies ahead. For Penn State Sports Night, I'm Nolan Collery.
Now we take you to the desk, where Tim Rogers, Adrianna Gallucci, and Anna Licastro are going to break down the women's season thus far.
Thank you, Nolan. This Penn State women's lax team has something special brewing. Here to discuss with me more is Anna Licastro and Adrianna Gallucci. Now, ladies, this team has had a whole 180 compared to last season. What have you liked so far, Anna? I'll start with you.
Yeah, so like you said, huge change up compared to last season, in which this team went 6-9 and won none of their conference matchups. And they're on their longest home win streaks since 2013. So a big part of their success so far this season has been their ability to win draw control battles. So head coach Missy Doherty has said that they've been doing a great job at this, and it shows in their games when you see how much they've been able to maintain possession of the ball. And then another big thing has been their transitions from defense to offense. They've been very quick and smooth, which makes them a lot harder to defend. And then their offense has just been awesome, period. Right up until their last matchup against Arizona State, which has definitely been their toughest so far, they've been significantly outscoring their opponents by at least 9 goals. At one point it was 14, and a big part of that is how much they've been shooting. They are taking more shots than all their opponents, and clearly that's working out for them.
Yeah, definitely speak for myself and Anna, and the two of you too, going to the women's lacrosse games. We're having just an awesome time covering this team. They're so talented, and that turnaround is huge for this Penn State women's team. As you said, Anna, coming from defense to offense, those caused turnovers are huge. Winning the draw controls, getting that ball from the draw circle down the field, and for those scoring opportunities is huge. If Penn State continues this play, they'll end up back in 25 in no time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, the possession has been so key for them, as Nolan mentioned in filming up there. But I love how you mentioned how fun they are to watch, because they really are. They're so fun to watch. And, you know, they're taking a lot of shots, but their shot selection in general has been very smart. They're taking tactical shots, very good placement, high to low, changing the elevation, bounce shots, all of the above. But, Anna, I'll start with you again. What's one player that's really stood out to you so far?
So I actually have 2, and that's going to be Kristen O'Neill and Sammy Dupac. Those seem like obvious choices, and they are, but they're obvious for a reason. Those 2 were both named Big Ten players to watch before the season, and they've definitely lived up to those expectations. Right now, O'Neill is leading the team with 14 points, and that's 13 goals and 1 assist. So clearly, she's very dangerous in the offense. And then you have Dupac holding down on the defensive end. She's been doing a great job with her caused turnovers. She actually had a career high of 6 when they went up against Bucknell. And then she's also winning ground balls and draw controls. So once again, that's been a major part of the team as a whole maintaining possession.
I agree with you, Anna. Let's stay on that defense for a little bit with Kayla Abernathy with 22 draw controls on the year. That is just huge for Penn State. As I said before, being able to take the draw, get it quick, get it downfield. Kayla Abernathy also a beast on defense. Personal best 4 caused turnovers during that Arizona State game. That is huge for big scoring opportunities, and she's a huge contributor on defense.
I mean, I think you guys hit the 3 keys, but the big thing for me is it's that depth. I mean, players coming off the bench, they're contributing, whether it's ground balls, whether it's scoring goals. No matter who it is, they're coming off the bench and they're adding valuable minutes to this team, which is very important. Now, starting off 4-0 is no joke. But, Anna, again, what is a realistic goal for this team?
So this team, obviously, they have 6 Big Ten Conference matchups coming up. And last year, that was tough for them. They went 0-6, and those are going to be their toughest games once again this year. However, if they can keep the momentum they have going right now, I think realistically they can go 3-3. And that may seem like a pretty big switch up compared to last season. However, when you think about it, multiple of those losses last year were 1-goal losses or overtime losses. So I definitely don't think that it's unreasonable to say that this team could turn those results around.
It's all about Big Ten. It's all about the Big Ten. Rutgers back in New Jersey, talented girls they have on their team. Coming up, you have games like Northwestern, Maryland, just to name a few. It's getting in that Big Ten. It's turning around from that 0-6 play that they had in their conference last year. But besides just the Big Ten, it's continuing to play aggressively, continuing to play physically, continuing to really hone down on that defense and turn that into goals as well.
Yeah, I think for them a huge win would just be, truly competing within the Big Ten. Whether that's 3 wins, whether that's 4, even if it's 2. I think that's a huge turnaround from last year. And I think it's exactly what they need to keep driving their momentum forward. But only time will tell if Penn State can keep up this strong momentum. The Nittany Lions take on Loyola Saturday at Panzer Stadium in hopes to start off with 5 straight wins for the first time since 2017. For Adrianna Gallucci and Anna Licastro, I'm Tim Rogers, and let's send it back to our host.
Thanks, guys. There certainly isn't anything better than starting off the season undefeated. Brendan, how does this start help set the tone for the rest of the season for lacrosse?
Well, Joey, I think with any team, if you go into the season 4-0 to start off, you're undefeated right out of the gate. I think that sets a perfect tone. I think it makes the energy, both with the team, the locker room, on the field, the best it can be. You know how teams run with good chemistry or bad chemistry. The good chemistry team is going to be the team that does the best. They're going to feel the best, and they're going to play the best. I think that the tone that was set in these first 4 games shows that this is a good Penn State women's lacrosse team that is going to be there for each other and that will get results when they're needed because they just like to play together. We have a team that likes to play together. They play well together. Now make sure to check out our top plays from the month of February.
Wow, those were some incredible top plays.
That'll be all for the second edition of Penn State Sports Night's Athletics Update Show. Be sure to tune in to our next show, as well as the other content we have on our channel. Also leave a comment as to which Penn State sports you want to see more of. For Joey, David, and the entire Sports Night team, I'm Brendan Conroy, and have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.